Moving now to the second half of day one, it would be a big shake-up at the top, with an unusual mistake from Richard Kershaw seeing him take a maximum and dropping down to 20th place, the car ending up in a ditch on run 6 and needing recovery. This means that, despite the engine problems, Tim Dilworth had managed to put enough pressure on Kershaw to take advantage of the mishap and take hold of the top spot at the end of the day. Although a good place to be, going into the overnight halt it would remain to be seen if the car would be out for another day's racing. Still holding a slight edge over Steve Hyatt in second place was Gordon Monaghan, and posting times a couple of seconds quicker than Dilworth, the advantage was being eroded and stood at 36 seconds at the end of 8 runs. For Steve Hyatt, it would be a good fight going into day 2, only 3 seconds separating him and second place at the end of the first day. And, with 5 stages remaining, it would be easily possible to take that place, and maybe another if Dilworth's team couldn't keep the 206 STI running. A maximum time on run 8 saw Ian Rochelle drop down to 22nd place, a disappointing end to what started as such a good day. And sadly this would be the end of the event for Rochelle, not continuing on day 2 due to yet more unreliability from the powerful Maserati. Martin Gold had already been chasing down Rochelle and had taken the place prior to his retirement, but this new development leaves Gold with a slightly more comfortable advantage of 2 minutes going into the second day of competition. Ian John Roberts was another driver taking advantage of Rochelle's demise. Now up to 5th place, he was edging out a bigger advantage to the car behind too, which would be a big help going into the second day. The crew behind Roberts was Dan Lofthouse and Johnny Conger. The power disadvantage over last year's spec was showing itself now. Despite this though, Lofthouse was displaying some impressive driving to hold on to 6th place. At this stage, it's all about championship points, and Dan is well aware of the importance of this, particularly so early on in the championship, and his new car on the way. Consistency paying off for Matt Lee and Rick Taylor, they moved up a few places, lying in 7th overall now, helped of course by the problems being experienced by the crews up ahead. Swapping times and places with Matt Lee was the 6R4 special of Ivan Dudley and David Rendell, eventually settling on 8th place at the end of the day. Now in the top 10, Bob Seaman and Neil Wakefield were still enjoying the new car and taking to the fast Sweet Lamb course well. 9th place at the end of day 1. Another crew rewarded for their efforts with the top 10 place at this stage was that of Steve Smith and John Griffiths. Also with a new car to get used to, the JRG Focus M3 is a new sight for spectators this year. After dropping over a minute on run 5, Alan Wilkinson was fighting his way back up the order and had managed to claw his way back up to 11th place. Luckily for Wilkinson, his problems were cancelled out by the suffering crews in front. Greg McLeod and Ollie Ford finished day 1 in 12th place, 15 seconds behind Wilkinson, who were being chased down by Carl Duffield. Duffield coming on strong, moving up from 22nd to 13th in just a handful of runs. Still holding on to their 14th place was the 6R4 crew of Phil Ibbotson and Will Jefferson. A heavy impact through one of the water splashes causing a scare though, when the car returned to the service area with a severely bent bottom arm. Luckily though, the damage wasn't affecting the car too greatly, and the crew were not letting it worry them at this stage. And in 15th place it was the Range Rover of Andy Wilson and David Pegg. Good going after starting the day in 28th place. Here's how some of the other crews are doing on their first day here at Sweetland. Ian Bartlett had been hovering around the top 15 all day, and after a consistent performance he ends the day in 16th. Kevin Groos started the day in 25th, and some good times see him jump up a few places to end the day in 17th place. For Martin Conboy, it would be a difficult day. Along with a broken stub axle and a failing front brake caliper, the rear differential broke, calling for some late night repairs to get the car ready for day 2. He finished the day in 18th place. Missing from the results after run 2 was Martin Cox in the Tornado, the engine giving up early in the event and forcing him to retire. Other retirements on day 1 included Mike Moran in his AT Challenger, rolling his car off the stage and out of the event. Ryan and Chris Cook also failed to finish day 1, completing only 3 competitive runs, despite being up as high as 8th place. Carl Gudgeon and Peter King were lying in 12th place before retirement at the end of the second run. In the trophy rally, it would be Richard Wynne Williams that led the field going into day 2. But that wasn't the case from the start. Some good runs saw him take the lead after run 4. The leader at the start of the event was Robin Parkinson. However, an early roll cost him a few minutes and put him down the order, now lying in 5th place at the end of the day. Second place was the Tomcat 100 of Tom and Richard Hipkiss, only 2 seconds behind the trophy leaders. Mike Bain and William Aitken ended day 1 in 3rd place, 37 seconds behind Hipkiss. Day 1 would be unlucky for Steve Anning and Nicholas Pritchard in their Toyota Land Cruiser. A cut on the way out of the bowl pitching the car onto its roof. Maximum times for the rest of the day, and they would be out for day 2.